us all come here together tonight, and I just pray that the lesson that I'm guessing Sarah will teach will fill us with knowledge deeper than we've had prior. And I just pray that all that is spoken throughout our group be influenced by your heavenly presence. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. Alright. So tonight we're going to talk about how your words can affect change. And I wanted to start out by asking everyone about a time in their life when someone said something that just really impacted them in either a positive or negative way. For me, it was at a church camp. And I had gone there for like a couple years prior. And someone stopped me like right after their evening service and just said just pointed out how much of a change they had seen in my life from the first year that I went. And it just stood out to me a lot because it's something that I didn't see myself and I didn't notice, because day by day you don't notice the little changes that you're making. And when I was younger, I was very, very shy and had started to kind of come out of my shell a little bit, and I didn't notice. But because someone had pointed it out to me, it kind of caused my brain to run with it. And it ended up being very, very encouraging. Someone in your life, someone has said to you that has impacted you either positively or negatively. Just something someone kind of said that stuck with you. Go the other way if you don't have something yet.
No, I'm just leaving you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sarah, do you have something?
Not off the top of my head, it's hard to think immediately.
Yeah. Does anyone have something that they're thinking of?
I've got lots of different moments like that actually. It's so hard to just pick one. But there's, so it wasn't even, I just share two.
Yes.
Just
Sure.
because.
I'm going to share two. I have multiple.
Hands down, one of the most encouraging things that I think anyone can ever hear from someone is when you're talking to someone that you look up to as an example, someone, they have a lot of strength, a lot of maturity, I want whatever you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you tell them this is where I'm at, this is where I'm struggling, I don't know how to get to where you are, and you're just being vulnerable and sharing with them, and all they tell you is I've been there. It's like, whoa, you can start out the way you are now, it's possible to get from here to, and that's all I have to say, and that right there just imparts and strengthens you. It's like, fans your flames. The other one is, it was actually just a verse that someone had told me. I was working at Bojangles, and I don't know if y'all know Stephen and Shauna Hatfield, if that name rings a bell. They go to the garage, but they're awesome people. They came to the drive-thru once, and I was in front of them chatting with them, and I can't remember what I was saying. I guess I kept going to school and seeking God's will, whatever, and he told me a song, and I just, to this day, I will never forget leaning in the window and him just saying, I once was young, but now I'm old. You have never seen the righteous abandoned or the children begging for bread. And just to know that the Bible said that is just whoa, that's so cool. And that just has not left all these years.
Okay.
And everyone doesn't have to go if they don't want to.
I just talk a lot, and so a lot of people talk to me. So I'm I actually actually have like a screenshot of this. This is something my friend had texted me. This is 2019, so this is like kind of a full circle thing that we're gonna have. This is literally November 3rd, 2019. I have a screenshot. My friend, so I remember it was just a very depressive episode. I can't remember why, but I was like, I'm not gonna go to church and wear all black and be emo today, and just like was in such a bad mood and everything. And then literally about 12 minutes after my parents had left from church and whatnot, my friend Summer, she texted me, God has something big for you that you don't know if you can handle. I just wanted to tell you that you can. And I was just like, why? And she's like, I don't know, but like, that's just what God was telling me to tell you. And so I remember that moment thinking like, okay, cool, God has big plans for me. That's chill. Flash forward to my life now. My life has been eventful lately. Very eventful. Tonra knows a lot about it, my brother knows. It's been crazy because of one person. And I'm not gonna get into it, it's just been a lot. But like this whole past couple weeks, I've just been very hopeless and just so much like, I miss this person, God, why are you doing this? I'm all of my life. Like I know it's to like refine me and make me better, but I'm still confused as to why you need to do this, thing, just like why was the big question. And so last night, that was the perfect night, I'm telling you, that was the night to go to my first time to Miss Becky's like Bible study group, which is David's mom. And she was teaching on pruning versus disciplining. And the whole process of like, you have to cut back to be able to grow. And everything that was said, I was just like, this is for me, God did this specifically for me. And I remember even like leaving to go to the Bible study that night. I was like, I could just have the house to myself. This never happens. And then I just in my spirit, it's like, no, I'm gonna go, because if I don't, I'm gonna be sad if I'm going to my house. And so that whole night was like, this whole night was just for me. And so I was, in my spirit, I was talking to God, I was like, wow, God, you're teaching me all this right now, so I don't have to learn, 50 years from now. You're telling me all this right here, right now. And he simply just goes, yeah, I told you that I have great plans for you. Just that blanket statement was enough, and it just kind of reminded me of that. And I was like, it was really cool. Even though I'm still kind of like heartbroken and still learning, it's like, he has kept his promise this many years later,
Yeah. So, did anyone else have something they wanted to share before we moved on? Think of something?
I thought of something.
Oh,
You go.
no, please.
Okay. So mine is like a combination of what my friend Margaret and Rebecca told me. So you're here.
Hey.
Hi. That it's never too late to like start, or don't wait till it's a perfect moment to start like reading the Bible and trying to be consistent with morning prayer. Because she knows that I'm very like, I need a perfect plan everything out very perfectly.
Very
But she was, yeah, so she's one of the people who told me it is okay not to plan it and that it could just go with the flow, and that's really helped me over time, that it doesn't have to be perfect.
After that, I'm very similar, like very, very type A, very perfectionist, and like when things are even a little off, it like drives me crazy. And just like that, and like knowing that God is a one step out of a time God, like he doesn't give you the whole plan, is very,
Bro, I
very
wish you would.
difficult.
Then I finally understand.
It always
all
works
of
out,
what's
and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
But every time in the beginning, I'm just like,
I'm
why are you just telling me the whole thing?
Just show me the picture.
This would be a
Well-
whole lot harder if he was a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Alright, well, you wanna go ahead?
Yeah, sure. So, I just remember when I was a kid, probably grade, I don't know, I was young, probably 4th grade, something like that. My youth group at church, we went to Mill Swamp right on Wednesdays, and that was for Awana.
Yeah.
And there was this one leader that was new to the church, and I think he was like an Iraqi war veteran or something like that, but he was a young guy. So I remember him saying that he told this kid that he like didn't like his haircut when he was younger, and church, the kid had a new haircut altogether, and he said that just blew him away, that just like saying one thing to somebody could have such a big, like, real impact, when before he hadn't felt like that was necessarily the case. So that's just something that's stuck with me, like, oh yeah, that really is true, that, because you can say things to people that are just like, oh, nothing to me, and then realizing later, oh, that could have had a big impact, so it makes me very aware of what I say to people and things like that.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and move on. So Jesus knew the power of words, and he exampled that multiple times in his ministry. One of my favorite times is in Mark 11. If someone wants to read, they are welcome to. It's Mark 11, 12 to 14, and then jumping ahead to verses 20 to 25.
Alright. 12 to 13.
12 to 14.
14.
Yep, and then 20 to 25.
Okay. And on the next day, when they had departed from Bethany, he became hungry. And seeing at a distance a fig tree in leaf, he went to see if perhaps he would find anything on it. And when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. And he answered and said to it, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And his disciples were listening. 20. And as they were passing by in the morning, they saw the fig tree withered from the roots up. And being reminded, Peter said to him, "Rabbi, behold, the fig tree which you cursed has withered." And Jesus answered, saying to them, "Have faith in God. Truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, 'Be taken up and cast into the sea,' and does not doubt his heart, but believes that what he says is going to happen, it shall be granted to him. Therefore I say to you, all things for which you pray and ask, believe that you have received them, and they shall be granted to you. And whenever you stand praying, forgive if you have anything against anyone, so that your Father also who is in heaven may forgive you for your transgressions."
Thank you. This is so cool to me. Just like, and I know our words have the same power, but just is like such a bold and profound thing. Like, Jesus used his words, and the next day, the tree was withered up and dead. And our words have that same power. My mom actually did this once. We had a gumball tree in our backyard, and like this really annoying spiky balls. And we were all little, so we'd like run around and we'd step on them, and my mom just hated it. And my dad loved it because it like shaded the whole yard. And the house next door was vacant, so my mom told my dad one day, she's like, "You should just go and cut down that tree. No one lives there, like, just go cut it down." I was like, "No, I like it." So my mom, every single day, would go outside and she would curse the tree and tell it to die. And it started to die. Like, the tree actually started to die. And my dad's like going out in the yard and he's like, "I can't figure out what's happening to this tree. Like, why is it dying? It was completely fine." And so eventually my mom told him, she's like, "Well, I've been cursing the tree so that it dies." And then he told her she had to stop because he really liked the tree. But I think sometimes we forget that our words have that same exact power. It talks about that in that section there, you know, if you have faith to say to a mountain, "Move," and it'll move. And there's a lot of debate in the Christian community whether that's like spiritual mountains or physical. I tend to believe that it's both. And an example of spiritual mountains that can be affected is when I was younger, especially like high school age, I had a lot of mental health issues. I had like things that had happened in my past that just kind of started it. But I had a lot of mental health issues. And I would like regularly joke about it. There was one day when I was praying, and I was like, God, I don't understand why this is something I am still dealing with. Like in total, I started having issues when I was like 12, and they didn't go away until I was probably 17 or 18. So it was a long time that I dealt with this. And I was praying about it, desperate. I was like, I don't understand why I'm still dealing with this stuff. Like, I just don't get it. And God told me very clearly, like, you are speaking these things over your life whenever you joke about it. And so I stopped, and the issues went away. So our words are very powerful, and it's all of our words. It's the words we say intentionally and the words that we say unintentionally. If someone wants to read James 3:1-12.
My devotional is called Big Mouth.
So James 3.
1-12.
Yes, Rebecca wants to read first.
James, what now? I'm so sorry.
James 3. James is like one of my favorite books of the Bible.
Yeah, now I'm going through it because last week I just finished. Oh, okay. Talking is. Where am I? Okay. Thank you. My issues are kind of derived from my mouth, and so I've been like.
You're all the way down.
But I went through the entire book of James last week, and I've been doing it repetitively, and just like meditating on it. So this has been good. Okay, so 1-3. All right. Let not many of you become. You said 1-3.
No, 3.
12. Oh, you're on 3.
1-12.
She literally just said 1-3. I'm like,
Do you want my Bible?
All chapters 1-3.
James 3:3-12.
James chapter 3.
Yes.
Start at the beginning and go to
1
verse
through
12.
1-3. I'm going to find you.
I didn't say anything, darling.
Alright, let not many of you become teachers, my brethren, knowing that as such will incur a stricter judgment. For we all stumble in many ways. Anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, able to bridle the whole body as well. Now we put the bits into the horses' mouths so that they will obey us. We direct their entire body as well. Look at the ships also. Though they are so great and are driven by strong winds, are still directed by a very small rudder wherever the inclination of the pilot desires. So also the tongue is a small part of the body, and yet it boasts of great things. See how great a forest is set aflame by a small fire. And the tongue is a fire, the very world of iniquity. The tongue is set among our members as that which defiles the entire body and sets on fire the course of our life and is set on fire by hell. For every species of beasts and birds, reptiles, and creatures of the sea is tamed and has been tamed by the human race. But no one can tame the tongue. It is a restless, evil, and full of deadly poison. With it we bless our Lord and Father, and with it we curse men who have been made in the likeness of God. For the same mouth comes both blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not to be this way. Does a fountain set out the same opening both fresh and bitter water? Can a fig tree, my brethren, produce olives, or a vine produce figs? Nor can salt water produce fresh.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. So just a short conclusion. We must be careful and diligent, tame our tongues, and speak life over ourselves and others. Jesus effected great change with his words, and so can you. So